Welcome everybody. Greg Brasso, your host of tonight's Veterans Voice Radio, as we salute the world's greatest generation 80 years ago. 80 years ago last night, if you could imagine the anxiousness of here they are. They've amassed hundreds of thousands of troops, tens of thousands of boats, planes of every shape and form, and they know something's coming, and here they are. Now it's tomorrow.
And they've been sitting around for a few days with the weather reports.
And now it's tomorrow.
Now it's tomorrow.
How do you feel, Justin?
I don't know. I mean, again, 18, 19-year-old kids, told they're going over, and they trained the best they could train them in what they had. We were talking earlier off air about, they had none of the sophisticated equipment we have today.
Yeah.
And so you just flew by the seat of your pants most of the time.
When Dad went in, Grandpa Chester we talk about from the Normandy, he was at Yankee Division, the first draft. He said they went down south, they had wooden rifles, and he said those Southerners were not the brightest guys in the regular army. They couldn't do a left face or right face.
Yeah, well,
he said that was a pretty rough start.
The greatest night, I think, looking back, of my 10 years of shows here was a colleague of mine, Bob Haley, from Weymouth, recently passed away very quickly. His father, Bob Haley Sr., came in and was a guest here, and he was chosen to drive one of those first landing boats at Omaha Beach on day one.
Yeah.
And he described getting blown up 100 yards offshore, and how he made it to shore, and he made it at the bottom of the hill, and he was, obviously he made it through. But the story that he told about what he saw and what happened at Omaha Beach that day, where about 2,000 U.S. servicemen. Justin, you think that's the number at Omaha?
At Omaha, I believe, I don't have those numbers in front of me.
And about 4,000 or 5,000 that first day.
Yeah, I think they're using even up to 10,000 for all troops.
But a couple of the landing, I mean, there was Omaha, Utah,
Yep.
Gold,
Yep.
Sword, and Juneau.
Right.
A couple of them were like a walk in the park.
Yeah, there were very few troops there.
Yeah.
But we talked earlier.
Very few German troops there.
Yeah. And what happened, a lot of it, those landing crafts, they were supposed to come in on dead low tide, but, with the weather and everything, they came in either before the low tide or after low tide. So those guys driving those landing crafts were coming in, and they were, just use numbers, say they were supposed to be 100 yards offshore when they dropped.
Yeah.
Well, when it's only 4 or 5 feet, that's fine, but when you drop early, now you're in 10 to 12 feet of water, and these guys were carrying 60, 70 pounds of packs,
Eesh.
and a lot of guys were drowning. They went over the side, and that was it.
Just unimaginable, what the debt of gratitude we owe to those folks that not only landed on June 6th, but they fought June 7th, June 8th,
Oh, they kept going.
June 9th, all the way into VE Day, which I think was in Europe was in July sometime, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you look at some of those combat guys. I mean, I know Vietnam was 9 months. That was the average stay. I mean, these guys were over there, some of them 3 years. I mean, they just went from combat to combat to combat. I mean, there was breaks in between, unlike the Vietnam, where the helicopter was your horse. And so you actually were in battle one after another. There were some breaks for some of these guys, but they were out there for long periods of time.
That started down in Africa. That unit that got drafted out of Boston went to South Africa first and Italy first.
And they
then
did the
Normandy
Rommel. That was
first.
Rommel's
That was
territory,
Rommel.
yeah.
That was all Boston.
That was where my relative got killed. Was in Italy, the Italian campaign.
Wow.
Yeah, he fought in. I think he went to.
Boston guys were the first draft.
Well, he's from Cambridge, so there he was.
Yeah.
He was going.
And the amazing thing, and at the same time, you think about it, 80 years ago, and I know I was at an event first thing this morning, and it's nice to know that at least they were being remembered, and even though there were, would they say today, there were something like 15 million who served during World War II, there are less than 100,000 left.
100 a day, I heard, are passing
Yeah,
away.
but I'm saying there's
today.
only 100,000 left to keep the memory going, and that's why it goes back to my generation of veterans must make sure that we continue this, the 90th and the 100th year anniversary, and so on and so on. It's so important that the young people know what happened, and not that you just got up in the morning and life is good.
Well, and I think Justin, that it's going to take some outside educational forces, because I don't think the public schools have the wherewithal to talk about the wars, World War One, World War Two. They're not even mentioning hardly history anymore. They're forced to teach to the MCAS.
Teach to the test. I know.
Teach to the
If
test.
it's not on the test, they don't need to teach it.
Like
Like I said, I think some of the books we looked at several years ago, we had a page and a half on Vietnam, which was a
Yeah.
20-year war.
Yeah,
Korea, I mean, what do they get? A paragraph, maybe?
maybe.
So it takes the local folks and the local veterans, and I always push this. It's up to the local veterans to ensure that the young folks today understand what history, and we have to continue that, whether it's through monuments, through museums, through some kind of educational seminars. You always need to continue to teach.
Well, one of the things that we're embarking on at the July 13th festival, we have a couple of new sectors that we're introducing this year, but one of them that we're going to be working on, that we're getting some success and some response, positive response, is our veteran authors
Right.
corner.
Absolutely.
And in talking to Volunteers of America, they're opening this big training center. Oops, I didn't say that. Nobody can know that they're opening a big new training center in Plymouth. Nobody can know that yet.
Right, not yet.
So shh, don't. I won't tell anybody else. I promise not to tell anybody. But we're talking about having a monthly authors night.
There you go.
With a Mike Cunningham,
Yep.
with a John Olivier, we have several.
Steve Manchester.
Yeah, Stevie Man. There's no question.
Right.
No question to bring them in and to encourage other vets to write, but let them know that there's some other vets that might have gone through the same thing that they did,
Right.
and maybe there's some new peer-to-peer relations that are
that's-
formed.
And we talk about that every week. That's what the coffees do. The coffees
Yeah.
bring veterans together, and there's no magic. People say, well, what do you need to do? Or what don't you want to say because you might trigger some? So you don't need to do any of that. Just, hey, my name is, and just introduce yourself, have a cup of coffee with somebody, and it'll happen.
If they haven't been triggered already,
Right.
there's not much you're going to do today to
Yeah.
to trigger them. No, but you're right. And the Commonwealth of Mass just came up with this 20-page report on veterans, on the veteran suicide problem, and they said that the most effective, I won't call it treatment, but I'll call it treatment for PTSD is peer-to-peer contact.
Right.
And our event that Wolfie and yourself and Gino and that we have created,
And Jenny.
and Jenny, puts 1,500 vets to vet. So I don't know how many 1,500 peer-to-peers we have there at that event, but we're looking to this July 13th as to be hopefully our biggest event ever. We've got all the regulars back, and just today we've signed the deal for a new another addition to our show. But I know we need to take our first break, so why don't we what's it?
Yep.
Somebody's on the phone. Somebody's on the phone.
That's probably Allie.
Oh,
Is it
maybe.
Major-
That's Allie.
After the break, we'll make that major announcement.
Yeah, we'll take the break, and after the break, we'll make a major announcement.
That's for a major, because he's a
That-
major
that's
too.
that's for next
That's
major.
major.
Take it away there, Major Mudd. I'll be blasting you. Welcome back, everybody. Greg Brasso, your host of Veterans Voice Radio, here as we celebrate the 80th anniversary of the invasion of D-Day, invasion of Normandy, where the United States, Great Britain, and Canada, joined
Australia.
forces. Some French resistance, and they teamed up with French resistance as they made their way towards Berlin. But this was the beginning of the end for the dictator of all dictators that caused so many deaths and so much needless bloodshed during World War II. And luckily, the United States came to be, and we have to salute not only the world's greatest generation, but the world's greatest female generation that stayed behind, that built the airplanes.
Ships.
That were at
Ammo.
ships
Ammo.
at the Hingham Shipyard.
Yep.
They had Rosie the Riveter. They had all of that, and we came and we joined together, and for 5 years there was nothing more important than the war effort.
Right. And think of it, there was no 1943 or 1945 cars. They didn't build them. They were all built for Jeeps and tanks.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Dad, just what you
Yep.
were saying, Greg. Dad said, everyone said this won the war, this won the war. Dad said American ingenuity won the war.
Right.
That's what.
Well,
his
I think it was an
interpretation-
awakening for the country because, like you said, women all of a sudden were put into the workforce in major ways, and did jobs that people said they would never
Couldn't
do.
never been done.
Welders from what I mean. I'm
Oh,
talking.
the worst
Yes.
of the worst.
But I mean,
oh,
but
I worked
skills-
at the. I
but
worked
skills
at the.
that men couldn't. Were okay, but
No, humans shouldn't work at the General Dynamics shipyard in Quincy. I
my
mean,
dad did after
oh
the war.
God,
After the war.
oh, everybody spent a little bit of time there, and hopefully they got out within a couple of weeks because it was a death pit.
Dangerous place.
Oh, dangerous.
Asbestos was normal.
Everywhere, everywhere.
What was it? A ship a day? How were they launching at the
In Hingham,
shipyard?
I think when a ship a day, they were
They
building
had like
some.
50 ways, and they just built when they were launching them one after another. That was probably most.
Oh, when I was growing
that's
up,
where you lived.
I that's where I lived, and as we were going out fishing, we'd get in our boats and we'd drive by the shipyard, and we could see all the launching docks that were left over that were into the mud, and at low tide you could see them. They were all concrete, and I think you're right, Wolfie. A ship a day they were turning out.
Crazy amount.
I mean, they were working 24 hours a day and just.
It took like a month or some crazy thing to build the ship. So
From start-
there's
And,
so many
and then
people
think
and
about
so many-
the airplanes, the tanks. It just goes on and on.
Everything.
They said
Every bit and how many bits and pieces going into an airplane?
And then the sacrifice people made. Couldn't buy this. You could. Everything
Ration
was
cards.
limited.
And you had the drives. You had the rubber drives, the scrap drives, the metal drives,
The
and then you had
nylons.
The nylons, and then you had the zinc pennies in 1943 because they needed copper for munitions, and you still run into the 1943 penny now and then. What the hell's this gray penny?
Yeah,
They needed the copper.
yeah, yep. That's interesting. That's a good little fun fact. Like you said, the automobiles.
43, 44, I believe. No cars.
I never knew that.
Yeah, they were all made to Jeeps.
Of course.
Jeeps and trucks.
Wow. Well, that was. It was pretty touching today. All the graves at Normandy. Thousands of soldiers are buried there, and with the typical stand-up crosses.
Yep.
All
White crosses.
all exactly in a line, all lined up, all perfect, and we salute all of them. Mr. Haley, thank you for your service. He came in here and talked very freely and openly, and is the only American that I've been able to shake the hand that has won the Legion of Honor. Didn't win it. He was awarded
that. Yeah.
the French
Yep.
Legion of Honor. That went to very few Americans, but Mr. Haley was the recipient, the Weymouth recipient. So,
And Weymouth has a great history, not in a great way, but they were also the first father and son who died in Vietnam. So we've paid the price. Individual families as well as cities and towns
No
paid
question.
the price
No,
for our
no.
freedom, and I think that's what I try to when I'm out speaking with especially the high school and younger, is to explain that these freedoms, there's no such thing as free. They're not free. Someone had to pay the price for you to be able to protest, to go to school, to travel, and they should just be aware of it. And I think when we build things like monuments or the Vietnam Wall, or you go down to Washington and that some of the amazing tributes to the World War II veterans, they're so important. Sometimes people overlook them, I think, and I think it's such a tribute that the country will continue to recognize and honor these people
and not forget.
and not forget.
And I think unfortunately when 9/11 occurred, I think it enacted a whole bunch of patriotism that unfortunately kind of has waned away a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if we could go back to the day after 9/11,
Oh.
I think that this new generation, I think what happened was, we know the Kennedy assassination, and we went through some of that in the 60s and 70s. And then it kind of weaned off in the 80s and 90s. And all of a sudden, we had 9/11, and the country, like Pearl Harbor,
Yeah.
December 7th, we never really understood that, what Pearl Harbor was about. I mean, we understood
Yeah.
it, but we didn't have that feeling that our parents and grandparents had, that pride. And all of a sudden, 9/11 hit, and you got to know neighbors. There wasn't I don't think there was a flag that you could buy somewhere.
No.
And it's sad that it takes an event like that to happen. But it's important for us to continue that, and I wish we could capture that again, that feeling without a tragedy, so that this next generation could get a little understanding about what their freedom, who paid for it.
I think unfortunately the nature of the confrontation now and the radical split among some of the factions here, that there's very little chance of compromise. Neither side wants to give, and we don't talk about politics here, but it seems like there's very little across the board going on that hopefully will guide us through these difficult times. But I promised that we were going to bring up a pleasant story, and tonight we're very happy to say that we've concluded our arrangements with none other than the U.S. Navy SEALs Precision Parachute Team that will now descend upon us on July 13th at Pageant Field to display their prowess and to display their representation of the U.S. Navy, and they are truly active duty Navy SEALs that for 3 years sign up for this presentations and their tour of duty, and for 3 years they stop being SEALs out in the field and they do these presentations and these demonstrations, and they've agreed that on July 13th they're going to be showing up in Quincy, and we're going to be honoring them as they descend upon the field. So July 13th is looking that it's going to be a great day. It's a great celebration, but Justin and Gino and Wolfie, you've been there. We have 125 tables of help.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything that we can't answer there?
Well, I just happened to be out in Eastham on Monday for the Massachusetts Veterans Service Officers Training, and I talked to many of the VSOs and a lot of the new VSOs. They asked me about, what's the event about? I said, what you need to do is come and network. It's the best place to network.
Yep.
You can have any service that's anywhere, anybody, and you're going to meet them, and it's a great resource for VSOs.
Sure is.
So I know a lot of VSOs. We're going to also try to bring some of their clients with them
Yep.
as well. But it's a great place to
There's
network.
nothing like meeting somebody from the VA that you need. All of a sudden you're in.
Or a company or a counseling that you're not aware of, that you're not.
Yeah.
And they may be in their backyard, and so it's just so important that.
And a face-to-face contact, they'll take your call.
Yes.
And it's and you're right, Justin. We'll have 1,000 veterans show up that will be walking around and picking up information and things, but the other 500 or 600 veterans that are going to be manning the tables, there's some supreme networking.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Greg, you're the guy. 2 weeks later, you call, say, Greg, you're the guy I talked to.
Yep.
There's a face. It's familiar, and for veterans, that's important.
It could be a hairdo. They remember Wolfie.
They all remember. But that's the
They
key.
could.
It's familiar to them, and for veterans who are struggling sometimes, that makes a big difference.
Huge.
Then a cold call to somebody on the other end of the line they don't know, they just can't get there. So it's a face, it's a familiar voice.
And these counselors are kind-hearted, wonderful, veterans-first people. I mean, we meet so many great people that are within our world here, a band of gypsies that all could be making more money doing some other things, but
And may
here
not
they
be,
are
may
doing
not even be a
this.
counselor. It may just be, hey, I remember you talking about a phone, and
Yeah.
I need that phone.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a crisis, PTSD. It might just be, hey, how do I get that phone, or how do I get that?
I
the
saw one
dog
of those
walker
on
or-
television, but I don't know how do I get
Well,
it.
I didn't feel comfortable.
Thing to remember too is when you talk about Justin, when you talk about they see a face, you gotta remember more veterans than not are aging. They're at an age where maybe they don't want to deal with going on the internet and finding this info.
Oh, right.
They don't want to call. I don't want
Yep.
to call. I don't want to find info. It's a pain in the butt. All this technology. So that gives that face, and a big part of it is you got to remember, you always got to play to the room. You got to play to your audience, and the audience for this is guys who aren't apt to sit around online trying to find it.
No.
But they see a face, they recognize a
And
friendly face.
you can't get through to people
Oh,
anymore.
you can't. Nope.
And
Try to call them. It's impossible.
And it's everybody. It doesn't matter who you call.
No.
It doesn't matter what call you're trying to make. They cancel the rest of your appointments for the day because you're going to be on
You're
hold.
going to be on hold.
Listening to horrible music.
And it's not always an older veteran who may not want to go on the internet. It could be a younger veteran who just wants that. He wants that
Connection.
that contact, that, like I said, just that handshake across the table at Quincy, and here's my card. Call me if you need something. That goes a long way.
Personal interaction.
Yeah, sure does.
And for the new
sure
VSOs,
does.
it's a great place for them to hear and listen. And for those seasoned VSOs, I tell them the same thing. There may be a company or an organization within your area that you may not be aware of. They're new, and this is a good time for you to bring them in to be part of your quote toolbox as things that you can, resources that you can use.
Yep. Well, and at this point, why don't we take a halftime break? But Justin, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the VSOs of Massachusetts and what makes Massachusetts so special, and what these VSOs are all about. So,
Sure.
Larry, why don't you take us away, kid, and we'll be back after these messages. Everybody, Greg Brasso, your host of Veterans Voice Radio, and we've got a guest on the phone calling in from our destination of Quincy. We have Major Ali Sleeman on the phone. Major, are you out there?
Hello, I am.
Hello. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the Veterans Voice.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, tell us about yourself, sir.
Allie, there's too many things for me to read, buddy. You got to tell us.
Just get you a brief version.
Yeah, I'm currently the emergency management director in the city of Quincy. I've known Wolfie for a while. Wolfie's in Hull. he's helped us out numerous times with fires. Thanks, Wolfie. Previously, I was an Army officer for a very long time, and I'm a veteran, and calling in to talk to you all, I guess.
Oh, good.
Sure thing. And so, how was your military experience following through to help you in your current situation?
I had a lot of responsibility and a lot of experience in some stressful, high-paced situations as an officer, forward deployed, and different scenarios. So yeah, it's helped me out a lot with planning and operations and leadership. So yeah, for sure.
Very good, very good. And now you're with emergency management in Quincy.
Yes.
And that must be pretty rewarding. And you're going to be ready to go at almost any minute.
Yep, we're always ready to go. Never know what's going to happen. So we try to prepare for any different type of contingency that might happen, and unfortunately things happen all the time. So we're always prepared to respond.
Well, and you folks are involved with some of the most dangerous of situations. We know what the burn pits are like overseas, but how about the burning homes that the firefighters are undergoing here? Do you are you seeing some effects from the toxins that the local firefighters are living under?
The Quincy Fire Department does a tremendous job. They're subject matter experts on putting out urban fires, and unfortunately, they are seeing some effects from that. I really can't speak to that. That would be a question for the Quincy Fire Department and their union president.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, they do a great job putting out fires. I can say that, and responding to any type of emergencies, rescues, motor vehicle accidents, etc.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately well known that that firefighters have problems with cancer from the smoke and all that, and forget the fire but you've seen it all, I'm sure. I'm sure, Major. So, are you going to be joining us at our festival at Pageant Field coming up in a month or so?
I generally try to stop by every year. Christine Cugini, our veteran service officer, along with George Bouchard, I know they're involved.
They sure are.
Our park department does a great job getting you guys set up down there, and you guys really go all out for that. It's a great event. So thank you for doing that for our veterans. It's pretty tremendous what you do there that day. So.
Well, and Major Wolfie and I talk about it all the time that that there are career shows and there are other type of events to try to draw veterans in, but we're doing this because we want to bring as many veterans in to gain the knowledge of the programs and the benefits that they haven't applied for yet, that they don't know of yet. And there's a real reluctance on the part of some of the veterans to step up, Major. What do you think it is that the veterans just think they don't want to take it away from the next one in line?
Yeah, I think maybe it goes back to the selfless service attribute. They kind of, why they decided to serve in the first place. But yeah, a lot of veterans need to try to take care of themselves and reach out to their VSO or whatever organization might help them to get the services they're entitled to. It's very important.
Yep. Well, Major, I want to thank you for your service. Thank you for your current service and your work, and thanks for keeping Wolfie. He drives, keep him going right through Weymouth. You take him right into Quincy. He's good. You have him, my friend. You have him.
I know. Wolfie's incredible. Just real quick, I'd like to mention. I know you guys touched on it earlier. It is the 80th anniversary of D-Day.
Sir, yes. Sir.
I qualified U.S. Army Pathfinder and also spent some time in the Ranger Regiment. So. 2nd Ranger Battalion, they were able to scale Point du Hoc up the cargo nets there, kind of day, and then also the Pathfinders secured the drop zones behind the German lines the night before to secure the drop zones for the 101st and 82nd Airborne. So that was a big day in Army history for the Pathfinders and Rangers. So it's always important to us. Every day we celebrate June 6th, and the legacy that those men built for us and we try to follow in their footsteps. And I know right now down at Fort, it's no longer Fort Benning. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. It is now, I don't know the name anymore because they changed the name of all the bases, but they're having a big commemorative ceremony this morning, as we did in Quincy with Post 95 at Mount Walton Cemetery to commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day.
Well, Christine does a great job. I know decorating the cemetery there near the Quincy Police Station. I get so many compliments. People say, "Gee, I drove by this cemetery. What's all those flags about?" What boy? And now with the improvements at that cemetery, it really is. I think Quincy has a special place in all of their hearts because of the inordinate amount of veterans, seemingly, that have served from Quincy, and the number of generals that Quincy has developed is like 20 or 30 of them, and the Five Generals Bridge is just testimony to just 5 of the many that Quincy has developed.
You know, we've had a long legacy of military history here in the city of Quincy. I was happy to try to contribute to that. I didn't make general, but I tried my best. And we not only have Mount Walton Cemetery, we have a lot of veteran cemeteries. And one thing I'd like to mention that our Veteran Services Department ensures that every veteran's grave in the city does get a flag, every single one. And there's a lot of cemeteries. We have the Hancock Cemetery, which dates back all the way to the Revolutionary War. We also have the President's Crypts there at Church of the President. So, it's pretty amazing here being from Quincy and, with General McConville, being from here, the former Army Chief of Staff, and then also, the other generals and also admirals. There's a lot of admirals in the city as well. So we have a long legacy of history here, kind of the birthplace of America, a lot of patriotism, and a lot of great veterans came from the city. So,
and not to mention all the great support that the Quincy shipyard provided for this country, not only during World War II, but long afterwards, that the Quincy shipyard was instrumental in building some of the Navy's finest warships. So you're right, Major, and you really talked, expressed it better than I could, and thank you for chiming in about the others that didn't land on D-Day, but were certainly instrumental in the success, and their sacrifice perhaps saved the lives of many others.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Major, thanks a lot for calling in, and
Look forward to seeing you in Quincy.
yeah, come and introduce yourself, and we'll give you a hot dog. We'll take it away from Wolfie
He
for
has,
you.
he has to parachute down to grab my hot dog.
I'm looking forward to that hot dog, guys. See you soon.
Okay, Major, we'll see you there. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was Major Ali Sleeman from the city of Presidents, of Quincy, Mass., home of John Quincy Adams. But let's not forget that Weymouth is the birthplace of Abigail Adams, the mother of them all.
Mother.
So, we all have a little couple of moments that we can share. But at this time, Lau, why don't we take a break, and we'll come back for the fourth quarter of tonight's Veterans Voice show, because we've got another drive-through coming next week.
Yeah. Oh my
so
gosh,
we've got
2 trailers already.
we'll be mentioning that and talking about that when we come back. So take it away, lad. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, everybody. Greg Brasso, your host of Veterans Voice Radio. Here, as we're just finishing up on this night, that we have been remembering the brave men that made up the invasion at the 5 beachheads established under General David Eisenhower and his other board of generals. And to quote Winston Churchill, never have so few given so much
Right.
to so many. Yeah. And that's just the they were talking about the bombing runs and the number of the unbelievable number of bombers that went out that didn't come back. Didn't come back. Just really, we need to remember, and Justin, we will remember. So as long as we have a voice, we'll keep remembering every year.
Every year, and those are dates that you celebrate. I mean, you know, it's a celebration of life, to remember those who gave their tomorrows for our todays. I think that's the quote that
Yep.
people use.
Yeah.
And you know, just going to pivot a little bit, but we were supposed to have the traveling wall at the Quincy show, and they pulled out for whatever reason. And I was at Monday. I was up in Eastham, speaking at the VSO training for Massachusetts veteran service officers, and I talked about there's a permanent wall in Fall River. It's, you know, the furthest I think is Ludlow, 2 hours. We had 70 come out in 2 buses, took a tour of the wall. They went over to Battleship Cove and went on to Massachusetts, had lunch, and they made a whole day of it, and the cost was minimal. And I explained to the VSOs who I spoke to, most of them, that, you know, you all live within an hour and a half ride, and you could have all your veterans. You could do it weekly, you could do it bi-weekly. You're not limited. The problem with the traveling wall is you're only limited to those 4 days.
Yeah.
And if people are traveling and they're away, then they miss it. And I told them, we're open 24/7, 365 days a year. You can schedule buses, vans, bring them down in smaller groups or larger groups, and make a day of it at the wall, the Iwo Jima Monument, and all the other monuments at Bicentennial Park, and then move on to Battleship. And I told them it's a full day. And again, you can schedule any time you want. You're not limited. So
It's a day you won't forget.
absolutely.
And if you don't, I can't imagine anybody that goes down there and sees the 58,000 plus names up on the wall, and looks over the shoulder to the Iwo Jima
Yeah.
monument.
You can't be moved. I mean, and the Gold Star Monument.
And,
I mean,
and if that doesn't touch you,
yeah.
then you're not touchable.
And the other key was some of them. Now it's our generation taking the honor flights to Washington.
Sure,
But a
yeah.
lot of the guys just can't travel.
Yeah.
They can't make that full day. It's a full day. You leave early morning.
Oh,
get back late. Yeah.
early crack of dawn, way crack of
So
dawn.
just health reasons or whatever, a lot of the guys can't go.
Yeah.
And so by us building the fourth 80% replica in the country, it's a place that at least Massachusetts, I say New England can travel. Those veterans can travel within a reasonable time and have this as close to experience as you can of Washington.
And all
It's not
you,
exact.
and
but
all
it's
you
as close
folks
as you can.
listening to us, if you want to talk about a bus ride or organizing a bus, give me a call, 781-985-1551. Drop Justin or anybody at the wall.
You can Google
Is there a
Vietnam,
website?
Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall.org. And you get our website, and through
And
that,
request that they'll get to
yeah,
you.
and they can even get me at jlatini@vva.org. That's my national site, so they can get me through VVA.
And you'd be
if-
happy to set up a day for them and
I would
tour
be
around
myself
a little bit.
or one of my staff or one of my Vietnam Veteran Chapter 207 members or the Wall Committee. There's always somebody in that area who could be available.
Beautiful.
To give them a background on the wall.
Beautiful.
And the park itself.
And that's just down Route 24 into Fall River, not far from Route 128. Half an hour maybe from
yeah,
128.
40 minutes maybe the max. I
Easy,
mean, yeah.
easy. No
I said,
traffic.
if Ludlow can come out.
Oh
and
boy,
they're on the other side
yeah.
of the world.
There's no doubt about it.
And follow up with the veteran service officers here in Massachusetts. We always speak about them, and we have some great veteran service officers. And again, the law states that if it's over 12,000 people in your town or city, you have to have a veteran service officer full time. And they were in their training. These are trained folks. It has changed. If you haven't been to a veteran service officer in your town for years, I think you need to maybe revisit it. The veteran officers are younger. They're equipped to handle electronically filing your claims. It's a different world than it was even 15 years ago.
Well, and even with the newly passed PACT Act and the HEROES Act.
Right.
Well, what does that mean for the veterans today?
How does that affect them?
How does that affect them? Well, it might have different effects on every different veteran out there based on their background,
Yep.
what
Time of
they've been
service.
through, time
Yep.
of service, disability, maybe not disabled, but if you've got an idea that you have some questions that you haven't been able to ask, think about coming to our festival on July 13th and ask every question that was askable can be answered.
And I always tell a veteran sometimes, don't ask another veteran sometimes, because I don't know. People ask me all the time, what about this law? There's so many, and that's not my job.
Yeah.
So I try to stay.
No,
in,
we can't do
I try to
that.
stay in my
No,
lane.
that's not us. We have on the 21st. Patrick O'Connor's going to come down and actually say what's going on.
Well, yeah, June 21st from 9 to 10:30 at the Bean Post in South Weymouth, which is where they have their monthly
the American Legion Post, yeah.
coffee. Senator Patrick O'Connor is going to come down and talk about not only the PACT Act, but the HERO Act that was just passed recently that maybe has some flaws, but it's a start.
It's a start. It definitely has some flaws in it. Some language that should have been in there, but it's like anything else. You get a bill in, and then you have to go back and revisit the bill and do an amendment to it. We in Massachusetts are lucky. I've said it a million times on this show and when I'm out speaking. There is a lot for veterans in this state, and it has changed. So again, if you haven't been to VA or to a VSO in years, need to revisit it. There are new laws on even bases that now are eligible for certain benefits. If you were at a certain base before, it wasn't even on the map. Now it's listed.
And if you want to find out what some of the information is, tomorrow's a coffee in Hull, and there'll be 2 or 3 VSOs there.
Yep.
Come to that coffee.
And nothing, just like an informal conversation.
Yeah.
So it's not like making an appointment.
Right.
Tomorrow's my appointment. I got to study. What are they going to ask me? What if I don't? What if I?
And sometimes you do have to go into the VSO's office because they've got to look up and verify some stuff. But you know what? It's such a comfortable. It's not like going to the registry of motor vehicles. I love them dearly, but it's a whole different experience. These VSOs are veterans,
and there's no charge for going to a VSO.
Right.
There's no charge to go to the Hull Coffee.
Yeah, go to the Hull Coffee tomorrow. There'll probably be 3 or 4 VSOs there. You just kibitz with them. You look at the ocean. It's really nice. And then you can't forget the food drive-through.
Next Thursday is our.
It's going to be 3 trailers over 10,000 pounds.
Wow, that's a sizable effort from me and you having a couple of beers after
we
Christmas.
should feed a few people. Okay.
Oh, can we feed somebody? You think anybody's going to be hungry? We don't know.
And then Greg had the best line. He says, "What are you going to do next month? You think they'll be hungry next month?" No. Greg says, "Go feed everybody." I've been feeding everybody. How the heck did that happen?
We just fell into it, Wolfie.
Yeah.
But really, it's one of our nicest accomplishments here. We keep on giving.
Sustainable.
Yeah, and not only to veterans, but anyone. We don't ask any questions. We don't ask names, address, phone numbers. Just come on by. So next Thursday about 10:30, if you are a member of your family, a neighbor, if you know that there's a senior veteran that could use just a little bit of a bump up with some extra food, or a senior, anybody. Not necessarily just a veteran. Wolfie and I have decided that we want to take care of as many people as we can. So,
and Jenny's not here tonight.
No Jen tonight.
Jen's somewhere in Cambridge or it might be Cleveland, but
she's in Hingham.
She's in Hingham, but so I'll jump in for her. And again, if you're not feeling well and you're getting a little anxiety because of whatever's happening in your life, dial 988 for veterans at the prompt press 1, and you're going to talk to someone who knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is not just
this isn't
me and Wolfie just saying, hey, what's happening?
No,
these are smart people.
Veterans, people who know how to talk to veterans.
Trained.
Not only how to talk to them, they know how to listen.
Bingo.
And for veterans, that's the thing. It isn't what people are saying to you. It's are they listening? And if they're listening to you, you're more apt to keep talking to them.
And we see something really important too. Everybody wants to join the group and join the club. Come down and join Veteran Voice. Come down Thursday to the food drive-through and help out.
Come down and see what we do and how we do
Be part
it.
of the Goon Squad. Be part of the WMEX, WATD family.
And if you need a little bit of a highlight once a month, that you need something just to boost your morale up a little bit and boost your spirit up. I mean, if you can't see the joy among the goon squad that Wolfie has assembled that comes back every month from all over New England for the benefit of giving away food.
And you know what's even more amazing? Not only this show, but all around the country, individuals, communities are stepping up, and they are helping.
Yeah.
And whether people are listening here in Massachusetts or in Texas, Oklahoma, you know, we have to applaud everyone who steps up because the need is just so great.
It's awful, right? It's really a tremendous problem that in this country we have so much,
It's
and
so
some
big.
have so little.
It's so
Yeah.
big that we do over 100 cars. Don't come at 12 o'clock because we're out of food.
We're
at 12
all
o'clock.
done.
10,
Go-
12,000 pounds gone. So come at 10:30. Come get some food. Come have some fun. If you're sitting home alone, just what Justin, everybody, Geno's, everyone's, Greg's talking about, come down and be with us. We'll give you a T-shirt, a Goon Squad Club. We'll laugh at you. You'll laugh at us, and you'll be part of the family.
And
That's the best
and
prevention.
and I've asked every time who smiles more,
Yeah.
the people getting the food or the people giving away the food.
And next week's show, we're going to be live at the Wall. We're going
Live.
to be in Fall River
At the Wall.
So it'll be a live show, 7 to 8 p.m. Those of you who listen to us down in that South Coast area, you're welcome to come down. We'll have a couple of chairs set up. Bring your own lounge chair. You'll be able to meet us and watch the show go live, and really how crazy it is in between the takes and commercial breaks and everything else. So we'll see you next Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. at the Vietnam Wall in Fall River.
So Larry, don't miss us too much next week, brother. We'll
Oh, Larry's not coming? Come on, Larry. You're on a road trip.